shattered dreams. Sofia Rivera straightened her blazer with trembling hands as she stood outside the imposing glass doors of Maxwell Legal Group. At 24, she was their youngest paralegal, known for her meticulous research and unwavering dedication. But today, her mind wasn't on case files or legal precedents. The pregnancy test had shown positive that morning. She tucked a strand of dark hair behind her ear and took a deep breath. Ethan would be happy, wouldn't he? Their relationship had been secret. Office romances were discouraged, especially between a Maxwell heir and a paralegal from the Bronx. But it had been real. 6 months of stolen moments, whispered promises, and plans for a future together. "Ms. Rivera, Mr. Maxwell will see you now," the receptionist announced, gesturing toward the corner office. Ethan looked up from his desk, his blue eyes warming at the sight of her. "Sophia," he said softly, closing his laptop. "I've missed you." "I have news," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. The joy that initially lit his face when she told him about the baby was genuine. He held her hands, kissed her forehead, promised they would figure it out together. For a brief moment, everything seemed possible, until Patricia Maxwell, the firm's matriarch and Ethan's mother, swept into the room 20 minutes later. "Mother, I can explain," Ethan began, but Patricia silenced him with a glance. "Ms. Rivera," Patricia said, her voice like ice. "How convenient that you found yourself in this situation with my son. A paralegal from your background suddenly carrying the next Maxwell heir." "I never planned this," Sophia protested, feeling her cheeks burn with humiliation. "Of course you didn't," Patricia replied with a thin smile. "Just as you never planned to access the Donovan case files after hours, or to accidentally email confidential information to your personal account." The blood drained from Sophia's face. "Those were for research purposes only. I would never—" "It doesn't matter what you would never do," Patricia interrupted. "What matters is what it looks like. And right now, it looks like you've compromised client confidentiality while attempting to secure your financial future through my son." Ethan stood frozen, conflict evident in his eyes. "Mother, this isn't fair. Sophia would never—" "Ethan!" Patricia cut in sharply. "The firm is facing the biggest merger in its history. Your father's health is failing. The board is watching every move we make. We cannot afford a scandal." The silence that followed was deafening. Sophia looked at Ethan, waiting for him to defend her, to choose her. Instead, she watched as uncertainty crept into his expression. Maybe we should take some time to think this through," he finally said, not meeting her eyes. 3 days later, Sophia received termination papers citing breach of confidentiality protocols. Her security clearance was revoked, her personal belongings shipped to her apartment in a cardboard box. Along with the termination notice was a settlement offer and non-disclosure agreement. Ethan never called, never texted. The man who had whispered promises against her skin had vanished, leaving only silence. In her tiny apartment, Sophia placed a hand over her still flat stomach. "It's just you and me now," she whispered to her unborn child. "But I promise you this, they will regret underestimating us." She tore the settlement offer in half, grabbed her laptop, and began researching law school applications. This wasn't the end of her story. It was only the beginning. Rising from ashes. 7 years transformed Sofia Rivera from a heartbroken paralegal into someone unrecognizable to those who once dismissed her. The young woman who once fetched coffee now commanded courtrooms with quiet authority. Morning light filtered through the blinds of Sophia's modest apartment in Queens as she prepared breakfast. "Olivia, 5 minutes until we leave," she called, pouring cereal for her daughter. 6-year-old Olivia bounded into the kitchen, already dressed in her school uniform, dark curls bouncing with each step. "Mommy, is today the day you fight for Ms. Jenkins?" Sophia smiled. "Yes, sweetheart. Remember her? The lady who lost her apartment? Because the bad landlord lied." Olivia nodded solemnly. "And you're going to make it right." "I'm going to try," Sophia corrected, straightening Olivia's collar. Those blue eyes, so like Ethan's, stared back at her with complete faith. The journey hadn't been easy. After Olivia's birth, Sophia worked nights at a 24-hour diner, studied during her daughter's nap times, and eventually secured a scholarship to City Law School. Her mother, Elena, moved in to help with child care, creating a household of 3 generations of Rivera women supporting each other. "Miss Jenkins can't pay you much," Elena reminded her later that morning as Sophia gathered her files. "It's not about money, Mama. It's about what's right." Sophia kissed her mother's cheek. "Besides, Rivera Legal Advocacy is doing just fine. Her firm, hardly a firm really, just a converted storage room with a desk and a determination that bordered on obsession. Specialized in representing those overlooked by the system. Single parents, immigrants, the working poor. Those who reminded Sophia of herself 7 years ago. The Jenkins case changed everything. What seemed like a simple wrongful eviction evolved into uncovering a pattern of fraud targeting vulnerable tenants. When larger firms declined to help, citing insufficient resources, Sophia built the case herself, working late into the night after Olivia was asleep. The courtroom fell silent when Judge Barrett announced the verdict. Class action certification granted against Maxwell Real Estate Holdings, a subsidiary of the same corporate empire that included Maxwell Legal Group. Overnight, Sophia became the face of justice for the underdog. Pro bono requests flooded in. Local news featured the tenant's champion. She hired 2 paralegals, then an associate attorney. Rivera Legal Advocacy moved to a real office in downtown Brooklyn. Through it all, Sophia maintained a careful distance from Manhattan's legal elite. She declined invitations to networking events where she might encounter the Maxwells. She built her reputation on substance, not connections. "You've become quite remarkable," noted Judge Barrett after another victory. "Have you considered taking on corporate clients? Your talent is wasted on small cases." Sophia smiled politely. "These aren't small cases to the people living them, Your Honor." That evening, as Sophia helped Olivia with homework, her phone rang. The caller ID showed Cynthia Mendoza, a respected partner at Torres and Mendoza, one of the city's premier firms. "Ms. Rivera," Cynthia began, "I'll be direct. We're preparing a major class action against Helios Pharmaceuticals for their defective insulin pumps. We need someone with your experience representing everyday people." "I'm flattered, but my practice is quite small. That's why we want to partner. Your firm maintains lead counsel status. We provide resources. Torres and Mendoza takes the background. This is your chance to help thousands of patients." Sophia glanced at Olivia, peacefully coloring at the kitchen table. Everything she'd built was for her daughter's future. "Who's representing Helios?" Sophia asked, her instincts suddenly alert. Cynthia hesitated. "Maxwell Legal Group." The name still had power to make Sophia's heart stutter. 7 years of carefully avoiding that world, and now it called to her. "I need time to consider," she said finally. After putting Olivia to bed, Sophia sat at her desk reviewing the case details Cynthia had sent. The evidence against Helios was damning. People had died because of corporate negligence. She opened her laptop and searched Maxwell Legal Group Partners. There he was, Ethan Maxwell, recently made managing partner following his father's retirement. Her finger hovered over his photograph. The same strong jaw, the same blue eyes their daughter had inherited. Sophia closed the laptop. This case wasn't about him. It wasn't about the past. It was about justice for families who had suffered. "Cynthia? It's Sophia Rivera. I'm in." Facing ghosts. The conference room at Torres and Mendoza buzzed with pre-trial energy. Associates arranged documents while paralegals prepared digital presentations. Sophia sat reviewing her opening arguments, feeling strangely calm despite knowing what awaited her. "They're here," Cynthia announced, peering through the glass wall toward reception. Sophia took a deep breath and stood, smoothing her charcoal gray suit. 7 years of building armor for this moment. The Helios Pharmaceuticals team entered first. CEO, medical director, PR representatives. Behind them came their legal counsel. 3 junior attorneys, a paralegal, and finally Ethan Maxwell. He stopped mid-stride when he saw her, surprise breaking through his professional composure. 7 years had added subtle lines around his eyes, a touch of silver at his temples. The years had been kind to him, Sophia thought bitterly. "Ms. Rivera," he said, recovering quickly. "I wasn't aware you were counsel on this case." "Mr. Maxwell," she replied, her voice steady. "I represent the plaintiffs." Something flickered in his eyes, recognition, perhaps, of the irony. The paralegal he'd abandoned was now facing him as an equal. The meeting proceeded with clinical efficiency. Settlement offers were rejected. Trial schedules confirmed. Throughout, Sophia maintained perfect professionalism, never once allowing her personal history to show, until they were alone. As others filed out for lunch, Ethan lingered, deliberately arranging papers until the room cleared. "Sophia," he said quietly, "it's been a long time." "Not long enough," she replied, gathering her files. "I deserve that." He stepped closer. "I've followed your career. The Jenkins case was brilliant work. I didn't do it to impress you." "I know." His voice softened. "How are you, really?" The question, so simple, so loaded with unspoken history, caught her off guard. For a moment, the armor cracked. "I'm a mother with a law practice and a mortgage," she answered. "I'm busy." He nodded, absorbing the information without surprise. "A mother," he repeated. "Is there someone in your life?" "That's not relevant to our case, Mr. Maxwell." "No, of course not." He hesitated. "Sophia, about what happened." "Don't." She cut him off sharply. "We're opposing counsel on a major litigation. Whatever you think you need to say about the past needs to wait." The door opened as Cynthia returned, saving Sophia from further conversation. She escaped to the bathroom, locking herself in a stall until her hands stopped shaking. That evening, Sophia arrived home late to find Olivia and Elena watching a movie. "Mommy!" Olivia jumped up. "Did you meet the bad medicine people?" Sophia hugged her tightly. "I did. And we're going to help make sure their medicine gets fixed." After Olivia was asleep, Elena studied her daughter's face. "You saw him, didn't you?" "The father." Sophia nodded, pouring herself a glass of wine. "It was professional, and nothing, Mama. He's opposing counsel." "Nothing more." Elena raised an eyebrow. "Your face says differently." Later, alone in her room, Sophia opened her laptop to review case notes. Instead, she found herself staring at an email that had arrived minutes before. From Ethan Maxwell, maxwelllegal.com. Subject, Personal Sophia. "I respect your boundaries regarding our professional relationship. However, there are things that need to be said outside the courtroom. 7 years ago, I made the worst mistake of my life. I've spent every day since regretting it. Would you meet me for coffee? Just once. As two people with a shared past, not as attorneys. Ethan." Her cursor hovered over the delete button. 7 years of anger, of building a life without him, of protecting herself and Olivia from ever being vulnerable again. Instead, she closed the laptop without responding. Tomorrow would be the first day of trial. She needed all her strength for what was to come, both in the courtroom and within her own heart. Battles within and without the Eastern District Federal Courthouse buzzed with media anticipation. The Helios insulin pump case had drawn national attention. A David versus Goliath battle with Rivera Legal Advocacy facing off against Maxwell Legal Group. Sophia set her briefcase on the plaintiff's table, hyper-aware of Ethan's presence across the aisle. 3 days into trial, their professional interactions remained coolly efficient, but the weight of their unspoken history hung between them. "All rise," called the bailiff as Judge Whitman entered. Day 3 belonged to Sophia. Her key witness, Dr. Layla Patel, a former Helios research scientist, would testify about internal documents showing the company knew about device malfunctions before they went to market. "Dr. Patel," Sophia began after establishing credentials, "when did you first raise concerns about the HX200 insulin pump's failure rate?" 18 months before market release, Dr. Patel replied clearly. "I documented inconsistent delivery rates during temperature fluctuations." "And what was the company's response?" "Objection," Ethan stood. "Calls for hearsay." "Your Honor, Dr. Patel was in these meetings herself," Sophia countered. "Overruled. The witness may answer." As Dr. Patel described Helios executives dismissing safety concerns for profit, Sophia watched the jury's expressions shift from neutral to disturbed. This testimony would devastate Helios, and by extension, Maxwell Legal Group's reputation for vetting their clients. During cross-examination, Ethan approached with precision. Dr. Patel, after being denied a promotion, you resigned from Helios rather dramatically, correct? Objection. Relevance and character assassination, Sophia interjected. I'm establishing potential bias, Your Honor, Ethan replied smoothly. I'll allow it, but tread carefully, Mr. Maxwell. The battle continued through afternoon, Ethan attempting to paint Dr. Patel as disgruntled, Sophia rehabilitating her witness with document after document supporting her claims. By day's end, Sophia knew they'd scored a critical victory. The jury was connecting with their narrative, corporate greed over patient safety. Outside the courthouse, rain poured as Sophia waited for her rideshare. A familiar voice spoke behind her. You were formidable today. She turned to find Ethan holding an umbrella. That's my job, she replied. No, he shook his head. It's more than that. You believe in what you're doing. I used to have that certainty once. Something in his voice, a vulnerability she hadn't expected, made her study his face more carefully. He looked tired beyond the normal trial exhaustion. Ethan, she said quietly, why did you take this case? I didn't. My mother did. When I realized what the evidence showed, he trailed off. Let's just say the Maxwell family dinner last Sunday wasn't pleasant. Her rideshare arrived, but curiosity overrode her desire to escape. Are you saying you don't believe in your client's case? He looked at her directly. I'm saying I believe in justice more than client retention. Some lessons take too long to learn. She stepped toward her car, then hesitated. That coffee you mentioned. Sunday morning, Riverside Park Cafe, 9 a.m., if you're serious about talking. His eyes widened slightly in surprise. I'll be there. Sunday morning arrived with golden autumn light. Sophia dressed carefully in jeans and a blue sweater, deliberately casual, not the armor of her courtroom suits. Olivia was with Elena for the day under the pretense of trial preparation. He was already waiting when she arrived, nervous in a way she'd never seen Ethan Maxwell, Manhattan's most confident attorney. You came, he said, standing as she approached. Against my better judgment. She sat opposite him. You have 30 minutes, Ethan. Make them count. He pushed a manila envelope across the table. Open it first. Inside was a motion to withdraw as counsel, filed Friday afternoon after court adjourned. You're quitting the case? I'm doing what I should have done 7 years ago, choosing what's right over what's expected. His voice was steady, his eyes never leaving hers. I've recommended Helios settle. The evidence is damning, and I won't be part of helping them escape responsibility. Your mother must be furious. She's beyond furious. The firm will lose millions, and I've likely lost my partnership. He shrugged. It was never really mine anyway. Why now? Sophia asked, still suspicious. After all these years of following the family plan? His hand moved across the table, stopping short of touching hers. Because seeing you again made me remember who I wanted to be before I lost myself in becoming what was expected. Ethan. I know I hurt you, he interrupted. I know words can't undo that. But there hasn't been a day I haven't regretted my choice. She felt the familiar anger rising. You had 7 years to reach out. At first, I convinced myself you were better off without me. Then I heard you'd built a life, a career. I thought you'd moved on. His voice cracked slightly. I told myself I had no right to disrupt that. Sophia looked away, fighting unexpected tears. You were right about that much. He nodded. I understand if you want nothing to do with me. But before you decide, there's something else you should know. He hesitated. I never stopped loving you, Sophia. The words hung between them, dangerous and electric. When she didn't respond, he continued. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm not even asking for a chance. I just needed you to know the truth. Sophia stood abruptly. I have to go. Sophia? I can't do this, Ethan. There's too much. She gathered her purse. Too much you don't know. As she hurried away, she heard him call after her. I'll wait, however long it takes. Beyond justice, the call came at 6 a.m. Monday. Helios Pharmaceuticals wanted to settle. By noon, papers were signed, full compensation for victims, device recall, safety protocol overhauls. A complete victory, Yet as Sophia accepted congratulations, she felt strangely hollow. The professional triumph couldn't overshadow tomorrow's personal reckoning. "You're sure about this?" Elena asked that evening, watching Sophia pace the living room. "He deserves to know about Olivia," Sophia answered. "I've been wrong to keep them apart. And if he wants to be in her life? In yours?" Sophia stopped pacing. "I don't know, Mama. For 7 years, it was easier to hate him than to admit I never stopped loving him." Tuesday afternoon, Sophia dismissed her staff early. She arranged her office carefully. Photos of Olivia prominent on her desk, case files cleared away. The space between them needed to be about family, not law. When Ethan arrived, he carried a small gift bag. "Congratulations on the settlement," he said formally. "Thank you for doing the right thing," she replied, gesturing for him to sit. An uncomfortable silence stretched between them until Ethan spoke. "You said there were things I don't know." Sophia took a deep breath. "When I left Maxwell Legal Group, I was pregnant." She watched comprehension dawn in his eyes, followed by shock. "You mean you have a daughter?" she confirmed quietly. "Her name is Olivia. She's 6 years old." Ethan's composure crumbled. "6 years," he whispered. "I've missed 6 years. I tried to tell you in the beginning," Sophia said. "Your mother's assistant blocked my calls. After a while, I decided we were better off without the Maxwell complications." "I had a right to know," he said, his voice strained. "Yes," she admitted. "You did." "I was hurt and proud and afraid." He stood walking to the window, then turned back suddenly. "What is she like?" The simple question broke the tension. Sophia found herself smiling. "She's brilliant, stubborn, kind. She loves space and dinosaurs and argues like a born attorney." "Does she know about me?" "She knows her father wasn't ready to be a parent." "I never spoke badly of you." He nodded gratefully. "I want to meet her, Sophia. If you'll allow it?" "I thought you might." She reached for a photo on her desk. "This is from her birthday last month." Ethan took it with trembling hands. "She has my eyes," he whispered, "and your dimple when she smiles." Sophia hesitated. "There's something else you should know. I've been offered a partnership at Torres and Mendoza." His eyebrows rose. "That's extraordinary. You deserve it. It would mean more resources for my pro bono work, better opportunities for Olivia." She paused. "But it would also mean working just blocks from Maxwell Legal Group." "I'm not staying there," Ethan said quietly. "I've resigned." "What?" This wasn't what Sophia had expected. The firm hasn't been about justice for years. "I'm starting over." He set down Olivia's photo carefully. "I've leased a small office in Brooklyn. No family name on the door. Just me trying to become the lawyer I wanted to be before I lost my way." They looked at each other. 7 years of pain and growth between them. "The gift," he remembered suddenly, placing the bag on her desk. "It's not much, but—" Inside was a snow globe of the New York skyline, identical to one he'd given her when they first started dating, claiming the city would be theirs someday. Tears filled Sophia's eyes. "You remembered." "I remember everything." He moved closer. "Sophia, I know I have no right to ask, but is there any chance—" She placed her fingers gently against his lips. "Don't ask for everything at once, Ethan. Let's start with you meeting Olivia. The rest, we'll see." He nodded, understanding the gift she was offering. Not forgiveness yet, but possibility. "Thursday evening," she said. "Dinner at our apartment. Olivia will be making her famous spaghetti. Don't be late." "I won't be," he promised. "Not ever again." As he left, Sophia returned to the window, watching him walk toward the subway, away from his family's empire toward Brooklyn. Toward them, perhaps. 7 years ago, a heartbroken paralegal had vowed revenge against those who underestimated her. Now, standing in her own law office, with a partnership offer and a victorious case behind her, Sophia realized true justice wasn't about making others pay for the past. It was about building a future where healing was possible. She picked up the snow globe, shaking it gently to watch the glitter swirl around the miniature city. Their city. Perhaps after all this time, there was room in it for second chances, not just in the courtroom, but in the heart.